Good morning, America. How are ya? It's Monday Morning Rail. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. And today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? You guessed it. We do show and tell. And show and tell is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people that make all the railroad embroidery clothing since 1985. So when you need for your club, your personal self, your favorite railroad, go to jelsma.com. That's JELSMA.com, and look for all the different embroidered railroad clothing, caps, shirts. We have over 1,500 railroad logos, plus we do custom logos all the time. And you don't have to buy a whole bunch, we'll make you one. So go to jelsma.com. And with that all being said, show and tell is about to start right now. It's Monday morning and show and tell starts right now. We have an exciting train to talk about, and the train that I want to talk about is not that well known, but part of it because this is a train that I'm modeling now. It's in the 1930s, and it's called the Mount Royal, and it was the New York Central, the Rutland, and the Canadian National, and it went from New York City to Montreal. And it's a very nice train. And so the train went right through the Green Mountains of Vermont, and just a beautiful, beautiful ride. And the Mount Royal, once again, it used three railroads: the New York Central, the Rutland, and the Canadian National. And so it was a heavyweight train. And if you could kind of look here, here is the model that I have right here is being pulled by a Rutland. And typically it had the RPOs, it had baggage, had a lot of baggage on it. Most of the time they ran a through coach or a through sleeper of the Canadian National. Different railroads participated. My model here, I got a New York Central diner, but you would see a Canadian National diner. You could see a Rutland. We have Rutland, typically 12 ones that they used. And then on the very end, New York Central, in my model here, I have the observation, and it was just a nice train. And so, but this train from Montreal to New York City was about 1,600 miles, and this train took 12 hours, and it went straight up, left New York City, Grand Central Station, and went up to Poughkeepsie, and from Poughkeepsie it went east, got onto the Rutland, and went up to Burlington, Vermont, and that was a big division point at Burlington, Vermont. It was very, very busy place for different trains, from the Vermont Central to the Boston, Maine, and it was just a lot of rail traffic. Then it crossed over into Canada, and it left New York City at 9:30 in the evening. So it was a sleeping, a lot of sleeping cars, and it got into Montreal the next night at 7:25, or 22 hours. But it was through just beautiful, beautiful landscape. And now, just to give you an idea, a lot of people say, gee, where do you get the names for all these trains? There was one heck of a lot of trains going from New York City to Montreal. Just for an example, route that the Mount Royal took, there were about 4 trains a day going to Montreal. And then if you had put in some of the locals, there was a couple of locals, I mean, they had like 6 trains a day. You could go to New York to Montreal via Boston, and you could get on the Boston and Maine and go to from New York to Montreal. The Denver and the Delaware and Hudson, the D&H, had the Laurentian was their favorites. But on that route there, you look back, they had 3 to 4 trains a day. So there was a lot of train traffic between Montreal, Canada, and New York City. And then all the trains that fed in at the different points. And for an example, and I call them feeder trains to feed these main named trains. Poughkeepsie was a feeder point, and White Valley Water was a junction point, and nationally Burlington, Vermont. And so there was just a lot of trains that went to these different train destinations as Montreal, and it was a pleasure riding these trains because they went to just an absolute beautiful scenery of the Green Mountains of the Rutland. And so this train here, once again, let's take a look at it. We got the New York Central, we have the Rutland, and we have our diner. And here again, depending upon the time of the year, it was more heavily traveled. For an example, during the summertime, which was the peak season for tourists for the Green Mountains, this train would swell up to 20 cars. And people would love to go to Montreal in the summertime. And then in the holiday season, you would see 10 head-in cars on this for stuff going back and forth from Montreal to New York. And so the Mount Royal was train number 51 going north, and train number 52 going south. Very nice train. After the war, it was discontinued, and most of the people that wanted to go to Montreal went usually on the D&H. But that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is a pleasure.